Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 416 of Screw the Commute podcast. I am here with a fireball of a lady. Nadia Holliday's here. I met her on Clubhouse and she latched hold of me and I almost had to get bladder surgery because she wouldn't let me go, giving good tips to the groups that she's in. And boy, will you see all the stuff this lady does? She does, I don't know, she can't possibly sleep because all the stuff that she's into. So I'll bring her on in a minute. Hope you didn't miss episode 415. That was cell phone tips and automation. You know, I'm all about automating and so that you spend your time making products and selling stuff and taking care of customers and not, fighting with your cell phone and computer. So I gave you a bunch more tips on cell phone tips and automation on episode 415. Of course, anytime you want to get to a past episode, you go to screwthecommute.com and then / and then the episode number. That was 415, and I'm sure you'll want to keep track of this number 416 when I turn this lady loose on you. All right, so how'd you like to hear your own voice here on Screw the Commute? Well, if the show's helped you out at all or in your business or giving you ideas to help you start a business, we want to hear about it. Visit screwthecommute.com and look for a little blue sidebar that says send a voicemail. Click on it, talk into your phone or computer, and tell me how the show's helped you, and put your website in there so you can get a big shout out on a future episode of Screw the Commute. Now, pick up a copy of our automation ebook. We sell it for $27, and just one of the tips in this book, folks, has saved me 7.5 million keystrokes. And a lot of people say, well, you're just making that up, right? We actually estimated it a couple years ago, so it's actually more than that now. Okay, grab a copy of that book at screwthecommute.com/automate-free, screwthecommute.com/automate-free. And while you're over there, pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. And you can put us on your cell phone and tablet and take us with you on the road. Now, I know people are freaking out because of the pandemic still, and the kids are home and they're not at home, they're in school or not. You quit your job, you didn't have a job. Well, I feel for that, for sure. But for 23 years, since I've been teaching internet marketing for small business, I have been railing against this. And it's insurance policy that if you can sell online, none of this stuff is going to affect you. And it hasn't affected me or my students. So I formalized my training in the form of a school. It's the only licensed dedicated internet marketing school in the country, probably the world. It's at imtcva.org. And you can get a complete scholarship to this school if you're in my mentor program. We have people gifting it to their kids, grandchildren, nephews, nieces, and it's the best darn thing you could give them because I'm really against the four-year colleges nowadays that are ripping students off and then just teaching them how to protest, and then they're competing for jobs at Starbucks. So I don't like that. My school teaches hardcore skills that every business on earth needs. All the stuff with email marketing and blogs and chat box and social media and all product production, all the things, the digital things that you need to know so they can make money in a hurry and they won't be coming home living in your basement. So check it out, imtcva.org. It's distance learning. If you can hear my voice and speak English, you can be in the school. All right, let's bring on the main event. Nadia Holliday's here. She's better known as the Wall Street chick turned realtor in the state of New York. And she's a 2-time self-published author. Where do you hear the title of one of her books? Wow. She's a playwright, a screenwriter, an actress, an event host, serial entrepreneur, a financial consultant, and a wealth builder. Now, here's a fun fact about Nadia that she'll tell us more about. She's bilingual, and that's Afro Latina. I never heard of that before. And she originally hailed from Baton Rouge, and you may have previously heard her on the radio. Nadia, are you ready to screw the commute?
Hey, Tom. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, boy, I couldn't help but have you on. You're about the most boisterous person I've heard on Clubhouse.
I try. Listen, I'm about to play lucky number 416. That number is going to bring you some luck. I suggest you go out and play it. I don't want to win by
416.
myself.
There you go.
416, lucky 416.
Oh, yeah, I am lucky to have you on here. So tell everybody what you're doing now. I mean, you had a thriving business before the pandemic, so you had to pivot and do stuff. So tell them all what you've been doing.
Okay, so about in 2018, I started a little drop shipping business by the name of NCH Collection, which is a double entendre because my name is actually Nadia Holliday, but I actually tell the people it means novelty closet and home goods. So it's a double entendre. It works for me. And one of my biggest sellers, believe it or not, are fur coats. I drop ship fur coats all the way from across the globe from China.
Wow.
And so we know at the beginning of the pandemic, that was one of the first things that they shut down was trade and, people traveling in from China, especially. And so obviously my business took a big, big hit.
Right.
However, because I am a serial entrepreneur and I'm always thinking of ways to create another check because, whether I have a check coming in or not, the bills are most certainly going to come in. And so what I said is, okay, what can I do? What do people need? Because I find that if you can sell what people need, you'll never go hungry. And I was like, okay, well, people need PPE. So I decided to pivot my business, stop selling furs and other luxury goods like art and whatnot. And I actually started to sell PPE. And I was selling so much PPE at one point that I got a contract with a nursing home out of Connecticut. And I'd pretty much become their entire supplier for PPE, masks,
Wow.
gowns, the little footies, the head caps, gloves. And I was pretty much supplying them with everything that they needed for about the first, I would say, 60 days of the pandemic. And then I just kind of stopped because they started to stop things coming in. I'm not sure who was stopping it, but this is what I'm hearing, that they were stopping things from coming in. They were confiscating things because things were needed in certain places. And so at that point, if you know anything about the dropship model, people have already paid me for these goods. I do not buy in bulk to whole, and I don't buy in bulk to wholesale. So at that point, I decided to kind of like let that go. But yeah, it's very important to know how to pivot when you are in this space, because as we all learned, life can change literally in a minute. And whether it changes or not, like I said, the bills are still going to come in and they still have to be paid.
That's for sure. And now I met you on Clubhouse, that new social media that's taken off like crazy. And you're in a particular group, or you started a group. What's the group that I met you in?
Okay, so I am a part of an organization called the Wealth Builders, and we are a financial literacy platform. And we also have one of the biggest clubs on Clubhouse by the name of Financial Literacy. So if you are on Clubhouse, you can catch me in there hosting calls every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you stumbled into one of those rooms. And yeah, I love what you had to say. I know a lot of things, but I don't know everything. And digital marketing, even though I'm in this space, is definitely not my area of expertise. And so I know I'm not the only one. And when I heard you speaking, I said, okay, I need to talk to this man. I need more information. I know other people that need more information. And we had a wonderful call. And I thank you for donating your time and your expertise. But the Wealth Builders, it's super dope. We teach people about credit. We teach them about drop shipping and e-commerce. We also teach them about real estate and Forex trading. And the goal is basically to empower people. And kind of like you, we're giving an education that you're not going to find in a college. You're definitely not going to find it in a public high school. And sometimes, depending on the demographic that you come from, you're not going to find it in your household. And we're probably in the same space, just two different lanes, but kind of doing the same thing. And I think that's also what attracted me to you. You've never worked. I was once, I'm going to admit it, an employee. I was an employee. And there's nothing wrong with being an employee. I just want to say that there's nothing wrong with being an employee. But once you find freedom, and to me, I define freedom as owning your time, owning all of your time. It's a liberating feeling. And I don't ever look to be an employee again.
Yeah, I get it. I always say I hate the corporate life where it takes a 2-week committee meeting to take a leak.
Yes, ridiculous. Oh my God.
I mean, I know somebody like you and somebody like me gets more done before breakfast than a lot of these executives get done in their whole career.
This is a fact. This is a fact. Like that could have been an email. We did not need a meeting for that. There's definitely a lot of time wasting going on in corporate America. But hey, the reason I say that I don't knock employees is because these corporations cannot run without them. And a lot of them provide services and products that we need, love, and use. So I get it. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone. I definitely took a leap of faith when I decided to take, just a leap in myself and sort of believe in myself, like, hey, you can do this, you've got what it takes. But it's definitely not easy. And it's most certainly not for everyone, but I love it. And I was just excited to meet you because it's very rare that I meet somebody that has the same mindset in that regard. People always think, well, you need a cushion from corporate America and everything you do should revolve about being somebody's employee. And I'm just like, no,
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 they should be
no, I don't want to be a
my
good employee.
employee.
Right. I want to be the best entrepreneur I can. I don't necessarily want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars and years of education to become a better employee for someone else. I think not.
So let's take you back a little bit. Were you entrepreneur? You said you were born from Baton Rouge, and
Yes.
so were you an entrepreneurial child? Did you?
No,
no.
I was not. You know what? I'm actually a hypocrite because there was a point in my life I was like, I'm never going to have my own business. I'm never going to do that. It takes way too much time, requires way too much commitment. I'm just going to come up in somebody else's job, punch the clock, do whatever I have to do, get my little check and go home and mind my business. And I did do that. I did that for 10 years. And then one Friday, and I'll never forget because it was a dress down Friday, I was like, oh, I'm done with this. I can't ever work for anybody. And I walked out the door without a plan.
Oh, really?
Probably a last paycheck, but I walked out the door without a plan. And I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out. I did a voluntary repossession of my car when I couldn't afford it anymore. I turned off my cable. And at this point, this was before people got savvy. So everybody's Wi-Fi was open. So I was like piggybacking on my neighbor's Wi-Fi, eating ramen noodles and just trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And I honestly did not know what it was, but I knew it did not entail being an employee again. And I found my way into so many amazing things and so many amazing spaces, but it definitely took me finding the courage to take a chance on myself. But my dad is an Army veteran. My mother's a retired, what was she? A registered nurse, and she's Panamanian. So that's why that little fun fact.
She's what? What do you call her?
She's Panamanian. She's from Panama.
Oh, Panamanian. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So when I was born, I was actually registered as a Panamanian born abroad, and I had Panamanian citizenship, a dual citizenship with America up until the age I was 18. And at that point, I let my Panamanian citizenship go. But I was considered a Panamanian born abroad for the first 18 years of my life. Well, even though I was still considered an American citizen by birth, I had that option, which was really cool.
Well, didn't you say you had some interesting stuff going on with what you could read and write and speak?
Yes. So this was the weirdest thing. I left Louisiana, Baton Rouge, when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I did kindergarten, so whatever age that is. Got to Panama and just had to learn to speak and read in Spanish. So what ended up happening was I returned stateside at the age of 9. So at 9, I had the English vocabulary of a child that was in kindergarten, and I could not read or write in English at all, but I could speak and read or write Spanish. So I actually didn't learn to read or write in English until I was about 9 or 10 years old. Wow. And I probably didn't get really good at or proficient at until I was about in high school. Like English is a hard language. Let me say that. English is a hard language. Spanish is so easy. Like Spanish, it is what it sounds like. English is very hard.
Well, that's what everybody that speaks English says, that Spanish and all the other languages are hard.
No, it's totally reversed. It's totally reversed. So a lot of people, I talk a lot, I write a lot, I speak a lot. Because there was a point in my life when I couldn't do it. And when you're kids, it's kind of weird when you're like 9 and people ask me like, so you can't read or write? Why can't you read and write? I'm like, I can't. I just read and write in Spanish.
Wolves or something,
Right. I can do it in another language. I really can.
I got everything I need in Spanish right here. Let's see if you can understand it.
Okay.
Habla más despacio, por favor, estúpido gringo.
Speak slower, please. I'm a stupid American.
Right. Because if you say something perfect and that's all you can say, it comes back at you like a tsunami of speed of, because Spanish people talk like 100 miles an hour.
That is absolutely correct. That is absolutely
so I tell
correct.
right off the bat, slow down. And then another time, this guy almost got me in trouble. This was years and years ago. He told me, get a Rolex watch, and if you get in trouble down in Mexico, you can bribe your way out of it. He said something like Puedo pagar or pegar, one or the other. and it was the wrong one. It was like he says I can pay was one. Which is that? Puedo pegar?
So you would say, puedo pagar is I can pay.
Okay.
Puedo pegar is I can hit.
Exactly. That's what he told me the wrong one. So he's trying to tell me to how to get out of things, and I was going to tell I can hit you. Oh man. So so you skipped a lot of years there though, because you've got some pretty high level training under your belt, don't you?
I did a lot. So after I worked on Wall Street for 10 years, I went to school for finance. Another fun fact, I actually dropped out in my third year when I found out I didn't actually need a degree in finance to be a stockbroker. And what I needed was a Series 763. Because one thing about me, Tom, I don't like to waste time. I like to get straight to the money.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I don't even need this. Why am I here? Why am I paying these people? Let me go. I finagled myself into an internship at Merrill Lynch, which my college advisor at the time thought that I was not qualified for. I got that for myself because I just kind of feel like I belong in any room I want to be in. But that's another conversation.
That's what I like about you. Yeah.
And I got that done. And then after that, I got my Series 7 and my 63. And I was actually offered a position with JP Morgan at my interview. Like they didn't even let me leave. They gave me the job. So I did that for 10 years. I bounced around to a bunch of different firms and a bunch of different positions on Wall Street. And I learned a lot and I met a lot of good people. But ultimately, I was not happy. And I just knew that I could not sit down for another 20 or 30 years in front of 6 computers and 3 telephones, screaming obscenities at my clients and my coworkers like that. There had to be more to life than that. And so I bid that part of my life farewell. I somehow stumbled on the radio, Shade 45 radio with Angela Yee Lip Service before she was on Power 105.1. She had me on a couple of times. And something like you, she thought I was like, very spunky and loud and fun. And so she had me on her show a couple of times. I got into writing blogs, and then I wanted to go to law school. So I went back to school. So it's like, okay, let me get my degree. I'm going to go to law school. But before I could even finish, my entertainment career just sort of took off. I was on the radio. I started to write. I ended up writing, producing, and directing a couple of shows on Broadway, but still considered off-Broadway productions. Those were sold out. They were a huge hit. I started to get all these invitations. I got an invite to go out to the Grammys. So I did that. And it was like, my life just took a hard left. And I'd like to say, fortunately for me, it never got back on track. Then I was out buying my first house and my realtor was like, what do you do with all this attitude? Like, and I was like, oh, I'm a writer. And she's like, you're a writer with all that attitude? And I'm like, oh, I used to be a stockbroker. And she's like, you ever sold a house? And I said, no. She's like, do you want to sell a house? I said, I guess I could sell a house. I could probably sell anything. And so it was done. I became a realtor in the state of New York, and real estate I love as much as I love writing. And actually, at right now, today, I hold no positions on Wall Street. I do not trade at all. I think I have PTSD, Tom.
You think from that experience?
Yeah, I'm just burnt out. And I tell people, it's different when you're doing it for yourself on your phone and you've got a few positions. But when you are on an international trading desk like I was at Bear Stearns, it's a totally different ballgame, and it is exhausting. So I think now I'm just kind of like, you know what? I don't want to do that. I don't want to look at a ticker symbol. I don't want to look at the market. I'm just going to invest all of my money in real estate, and I love it. I have a lot of fun with it. I get to teach a lot of people things that they never probably know otherwise. And I found that investing in real estate is a lot more fulfilling for me than the real estate market. I mean, than the stock market.
Well, you might have what is PST? What is it?
One of those.
PTSD, yeah. But you definitely aren't PC, because this nickname of yours, the Wall Street Chick. Oh man, right. When I lived in DC, I'd have got murdered if I'd have said the word chick. And then I'll tell them the name of that book that I saw on Amazon.
My first book. And I'll tell you a fun fact about it. So the name of my first book was Are You Fierce? What is the name of my book, Tom? Are you fierce, focused, and fabulous? Are you fierce, focused, and fabulous, or just another dumb bitch? And let me tell you, I didn't even want to write that book. I put that book out because somebody found my blog, and some of your listeners may know her name is Zane. She's a very popular type of urban noir writer. And somebody from her camp found my blog long ago, which was, I think it was called Bitch About It. I think that was the name of my blog. And it was just kind of like a safe place where people could come and complain about their ordinary, mundane lives, their friends, their boss, their relationships, like just come and vent and get it off of your chest. And somebody reached out to me from our camp and said, hey, we're trying to put together a book of short stories. We love your blog. Could you turn your blog into a book so that we can pitch it with, with the rest of the books for this little, they were trying to do a book compiled of other short books, if that makes sense. So I said, sure, I'd love to. I love Zane. I love her work. I'd love to be a part of this. So I ended up turning my blog into a book. And that was the name that I came up with. But that book was not really meant to be. But at that point, they ended up not getting the book deal through her publisher. And I'm like, you know what? I might as well just throw it out there. I wrote it. I did it. Like, why let it sit on the shelf? So I self-published it and I put it out there.
There's actually a name for that. It's called blooking, blog to book. So you're a real blooker.
I'm about to add that to my bio. Blooker.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're a looker and a blooker.
Right. I'm a blooker, just so you know. Add that to my bio. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. Hey, am I correct in thinking that you have a daughter? Is that true?
I do have a daughter. I have an 18-year-old.
And are you making her into a crazy blooker like you, or what?
My daughter is absolutely nothing like me. Let me tell you.
She's scared to be.
If a ray of sunshine could become a person, that would be my daughter.
Wow, that's nice. She
has, even on her report cards, I'm like, whose kid are you? Her teachers will write stuff like, you come into my room and you make my day better.
Oh,
I look for, I'm just like, my teachers would have never said that about me. You're embarrassing me, kid. You are embarrassing me. But she is literally as sweet as pie. She's just amazing. And a part of the reason why I started my drop shipping business was for her, because she hates when I say this because she says it's so cliche, but passion is her fashion. And her dream is to go to FIT. Mm-hmm. And we live in such a competitive world. And I never wanted her to have to depend on someone else for a job. And so I said, okay, I'm going to create this company for you and I'm going to get it going. So if you go to college and you graduate and there is no job waiting for you, you have a job of your own already.
Yeah. Wow.
And so that was really the reason why I did. I'm like, so you have marketing, you know how to do merchandising, you know how to pick out a summer line, a winter line. And I just wanted to give her the skills that she was going to need to go into the field that she is going to get into. Because I remember when it was my turn, my family didn't know anything about being a stockbroker. They didn't have any advice for me. Everyone's like, why don't you be a lawyer? Why don't you be a doctor? Like, that's what we do. We're lawyers, we're doctors. The stock stuff you're talking about is nonsense. We don't do that in this family. And I was kind of out there on my own. And I know how that felt, kind of being like, okay, I don't have anybody to talk to. Nobody understands me. And I didn't want her to have that experience. And I don't know anything about fashion. So this was also a way of me learning about it and helping her to realize her dreams and goals as well.
Wow. That's really, really awesome. I wish there's more parents like you out there. So,
Thank you. I try.
So we got to take a brief sponsor break. When we come back, we're going to ask Nadia what's a typical day look like for her since this pandemic's hit. I think you live in New York, and it's kind of turning into a ghost town in there in Manhattan. But and then we'll ask her how she stays. I'm laughing at this dumb question. How she stays motivated. I think she needs unmotivated sometimes. This lady. So folks, about 23 years ago, I kind of turned the internet marketing guru world on its head, and that people at my level were charging like 50 or 100 grand up front to teach them stuff. And I knew these guys, they'd be hiding out in Panama if you gave them 50 grand up front, and they'd never help you. So I said, that's not good. So I'm going to fix this. So I made them all mad because I charged a relatively small entry fee, like 10% of what they were charging. And then I tied my success to your success. So for me to get my 50 grand, you have to make 200 grand net. And so people, they love this. And 1,700 plus students later, and 23 years, it's still going strong. It's the longest running, most successful, most unique mentor program of its kind ever. And I have no trouble saying that because I've triple dog dared people to put their program up against mine, and nobody will because they'd be embarrassed because I'm a crazy fanatic, not quite as much as Nadia, but I'm pretty crazy. and it's so unique in that you have an immersion weekend here at the Great Internet Marketing Retreat Center. It's the only facility of its kind in the world. We have our own TV studio here. It's a big estate that you live actually in the house for an immersion weekend with me. And Everything is one-on-one. We don't believe in any group training because other than the retreat visit, but this is a year-long program where you have unlimited access to me and all my staff on a one-on-one basis to tutor you, to teach you this stuff. Because if you're in with more advanced people, you're lost. If you're in with less advanced people, you're bored. So I hate that. I want action. So it's all one-on-one. And then you also get a scholarship to my school I told you about earlier that you can either use yourself for additional training or gift to someone. And it would be the best legacy gift you could ever give to a young person because there's no more gold watches being given out. You're lucky if they spend 30 minutes, let alone 30 years at a company. So I want the people not to come home and live with you in your basement because they're broke and can't find a job. So we don't allow that around here. So anyway, check it out, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. You give me a call. I'm very accessible, and we can talk about your future online and any of your loved ones' future online. All right, let's get back to the main event. Nadia Holliday's here. She is the Wall Street chick turned realtor and 50 other things. And see, I have no trouble with people that have done a lot of things because that's what Screw the Commute is all about. If you're not in traffic making somebody else rich, you can live 2 or 3 lives. And it seems like Nadia is doing that. So Nadia, what's a typical day look like for you nowadays, other than the 9 hours a day you spend on Clubhouse?
Right. So right now, Clubhouse definitely dominates most of my time. No, but a typical day for me, I wake up pretty early. I drop my mom off. Well, this is now since COVID. Let me say that. So this was not before COVID. This is now since COVID. So my mom is 70, I'm losing track. She's probably about 77, 76 years old. And so some mornings I get up and I drop her off at about 5:15 in the morning. And if you know me, you know I hate mornings. So this ruins my day.
You drop her off where?
I drop her off at the bus because sometimes she goes back into the city. I moved out of New York City about 6 years ago now. So some days she goes back into the city. She has to go early. So I'm up early to drive her to the bus so she can get on the bus and go to the city.
Isn't that dangerous with all this COVID around trying to get you?
Thank you. I need to get her on this call. Thank you. Because I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing it. She don't care. She don't care about me. She don't care. She just wants to go do what she's got to do.
Okay.
So that happens about 2-3 days a week. I'm dropping her off so she can go do what she does in the city. Then my daughter, because again, I'm paranoid, I did not want her on the bus. And my daughter's actually getting 2 diplomas this year.
Wow.
She goes to a technical school for fashion and interior design, and she gets a program from that. I mean, she gets a diploma from that program as well as her regular standard, high school diploma. And they actually mandated, because they have to do in-person training, that they attend on an alternating basis. So some days she's there 2 days a week, some days 3 days a week. So the days that she has to go in, I get up and I drive her.
Okay.
So that's how my morning usually starts. After that, I'm probably miserable until about noon when I get over it. Because you know what? Before all of this, my day didn't start till noon. Right. I have the do not disturb on my phone from about midnight to 10 a.m. And that's because I'm writing during that time. I'm sending emails during that time, but midnight to 10 a.m. is my time. I try to do everything between 10 a.m. and midnight. And I try to always be accessible to my real estate customers, my business partners. But I think that when you're an entrepreneur, it's very important that you carve out some time for yourself, because this is the issue. And I'm pretty sure you have this problem too. When people realize you're an entrepreneur or you work from home, they automatically think you are available to talk to them all day. People say, like, I was calling you. I was working. You don't have a job. I work for myself. Like, my bills don't just miraculously get paid. I do have to work. And I probably work more and harder than you, because while you are calling me, I am trying to work. Okay. So that's probably what a typical day looks like. I get up, I'm emailing my real estate clients, I'm sending out listings, I'm scheduling open houses, I'm talking to other realtors, I'm talking with my broker about different short sales. I'm on Clubhouse trying to moderate calls. I'm trying to enroll people into the Wealth Builder program so that they can become financially literate and say, screw the commute, and fire their boss and join us, on the good life, in the good life. So it can be pretty hectic some days. And that's without a production. You throw a production in there and listen, I'm on go 24 hours a day. I'm writing, I'm revising a script, I'm looking for locations, I'm booking flights, I'm booking hotels, I'm booking venues, I'm running, casting calls. So when you throw all of that into production season, then it gets really crazy. And I'm actually in pre-production right now to go into production in May. So I'm actually about to get on that 24/7 schedule where if I'm lucky, I'll get about 30 minutes to an hour of sleep a day. But it is all go. And I love it. I love it. I love real estate. I love producing. So this is my moment. Like this is when I feel I shine the best. But I tell you what, after I shoot that in May, you probably won't see me for about 2 months. I'll probably be comatose. I will definitely be comatose.
Oh, it keeps
after
you
that.
young. It keeps you young. So
It does.
so tell them how they get a hold of you.
Okay, so first things first, if you want to join my community and really be tapped in with me, just shoot me a text. You can shoot me a text at 917-809-2043 and just say screw the commute so that I can let Tom know that, hey, Tom, some of your wonderful, fabulous listeners reached out to me. So that's my number, 917-809-2043. And if you want to know a little bit about everything that I do, which is a little bit of a lot, if you want to look into some of the furs that I have for sale, some of the books that I have for sale, some of the real estate that I have for sale, or even if you're interested about my platform, The Wealth Builders, and you want to learn more about credit, real estate, Forex, drop shipping, which is, again, Tom's space. So if you're here, you definitely want to know about that. Follow me on Instagram. That's probably where you're going to get the biggest and best picture of who I am as a person, as a mother, as an entrepreneur. And you'll probably find out some things about me that you didn't know. That you'll find out on that page. And that page is Nadia, Nadia _Holliday, HOLLIDAY, not to be confused with what's on your calendar. So that's probably going to be the best place for you guys to find me and reach out to me. And definitely keep in touch because I'm going to be keeping in touch with Tom. I've got to come see this retreat. That's what I know, Tom.
Yeah. You get lost in here. I didn't know how to get out the front door for several days.
Listen, I enjoy exclusivity. This sounds like great content for my Instagram page, and I'm all the way in.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Nadia. I'm really glad we crossed paths, and I think we're going to do some more on Clubhouse together.
Absolutely.
I'm always there for you. So everybody, here's a perfect example of somebody that just wants to do it, goes and does it, and then doesn't look back. And she does all these different things because you don't have to get pigeonholed. You don't have to get stuck in the dreaded job. So Nadia, thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me, Tom. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, everybody, we'll catch you on the next